Okay then guys, here we go with my Christmas pudding. A slightly boozy one this year, so we'll start off with the sherry. So we got some sherry, plain flour, we got some breadcrumbs. I didn't make my own this time. Some dried fruits, and these are already soaked in brandy. Muscovado sugar, dark muscovado, vegetable suet, baking powder, the zest of a lemon, ground cloves, ground cinnamon, 3 eggs, a cooking apple, honey, and I got some walnuts there. Now they are totally optional, I just fancied a bit of crunch. Now there's something missing, and that is my jar of kirsch soaked dark cherries, but they'll appear later on. So best thing to do is, well, get on with it, eh? The first thing to do then is to soak your dried fruits in alcohol. Yes, you can cut your own fruits, your prunes, your dates, your figs. I just bought a packet, but I didn't realise that these are already brandy soaked. So the bit of sherry on top was a bonus. As usual, the recipe's in the description below, and it is for a 1.7 litre pudding basin. And that is a 3-pint pudding basin in old money. So in with a good glug of sherry and give it a good mixing. And it was while I was mixing it up that I saw the cherries in the mix. I thought to myself, I've got a jar of cherries, so here they are, dark cherries and kirsch. So we've got brandy, kirsch and sherry. Going to be a good pudding, this one. After a final mix in, cover the bowl with clingfilm and, well, let the fruits soak up that gorgeous liquor for, well, 1, 2, 3, up to 7 days. I lasted 2 days, I wanted to get it made. Here it is after the 2 days. Oh my word, the smell coming off that. I could have face dived that, I tell you. Okay, grab yourself another bowl and, well, basically all the rest of the ingredients go into the second bowl. So weigh up your flour. The breadcrumbs, and like I said, I cheated here. I don't think it really matters, to tell you the truth. The poor little breadcrumb's going to be steaming for 5 hours pretty soon anyway. In with the vegetable suet. And the dark muscovado sugar. And give it a good mixing. I started off with a spoon, but you quite often find that the muscovado type sugars are a bit clumpy. Get in there with your hands, it's much easier. Ground cinnamon, classic Christmas taste in my opinion, and the ground cloves. Be careful with the ground cloves, they can be very overpowering, unless you like the clove taste, of course. In with the baking powder. Now, this isn't necessary, you don't have to put this in, but I find it gives the pudding a little bit of a rise, only a little bit, not much. The zest of 1 lemon. And 3 eggs. No need to pre-beat these. Peel, core and chop 1 cooking apple. I used a Bramley. Other makes are available. And you can chop them as fine as you like. A little bit of variation in size. It makes the pudding more unique, I find. And in with a good squirt of honey. And yet another good mixing. Now the idea of all these separate mixings is to get things incorporated. If you plonked them all in and mixed them all in one go, there's a very good chance you'd have pockets of this and pockets of that lying around. In with half of the Boozy dried fruits, and again give it a good mixing, just so there's no pockets left. and in with the rest. And one final mixing. You see what I mean? Look, if we didn't mix it properly, those whitish looking bits, they'd be there in the final pudding. Now, if you want a more traditional type of Christmas pudding, then stop with the ingredients here. But I fancied a bit of crunch in mine. To be honest, in our family, it's only me that really eats it. I know my kids try it and they say, yeah, that's nice, Dad. I'm sure it's just to humour me. I think is it a generational thing? Something that's dying out, Christmas puddings? No idea. Grab your pudding basin of choice. Now, I like my porcelain one. You can get plastic ones with lids, but I don't know if they're any easier, to tell you the truth. Give them a good buttering, and whichever type you use, you need to line the bottom. Bit of parchment paper, grease-proof paper, fold it in the centre. Gauge it to the centre, and then just cut a little arc on it, and you'll have a virtual circle of grease-proof paper. Poke it in the bottom, and here we go. Now load up your pudding basin. Plonk it in fairly gently, and once you've got a bit in there, just poke it in, squash it down a bit. Try not to leave any air pockets, that's the idea. Squidge it down. Load it up, firm it down, and when you're happy, it's time to make your lid. Now, I've got this parchment paper that is lined with foil, or is it foil lined with parchment paper? It's quite handy stuff, actually. Bearing in mind that you want the parchment side to be facing the pudding, fold it so you've got a crease, and then fold it back on itself. There's about, I don't know, 1.5 inch crease there, 30mm. If you haven't got this parchment back foil, then just get a piece of parchment, a piece of foil over the top, and fold them together exactly the same. Place it over the top of the pudding basin. Now, this is the awkward part. It's probably easier to do than it is to talk about. Firm it all round under the lip of the bowl. Grab your cooking string and make a slip knot at the end. Pass the end of the string through the loop of the slip knot, pass the big loop over the pudding basin, under the lip, and pull it tight, squeezing the parchment paper foil into the basin. See, I told you it's easier to do than talk about. And once you get it tight, pass the end of the string over the top, loop it around itself. Oh, here we go. Loop it around itself like this. Over the top again to make a handle. Simple! Square the handle up, trim all the foil and the excess string off, and just give it a little testing before you lift it up in anger. Okay, in with the slow cooker. I'm using the Sage Fast Slow Pro, the Breville. I've got my trivet in the bottom there, loaded with hot water already. In with the pudding basin. Ooh, the string held. Thanks for that. And this is going to cook for 5 hours. 5 hours in the steaming mode with the Fast Slow Pro. Once I find the right setting. Come on, Steve, buck up, mate. The Fast Slow Pro only allows you to set 60 minutes for the steam mode, which is not a bad thing really, because it stops it boiling dry. Exactly as you do on the stovetop, you check on it now and again, and I checked on it 5 times and topped the water up. Here we are then, 5 hours later, plus I allowed it to cool in the Fast Slow Pro overnight, so it's stone cold. Cut the string off, and let's have a look at the pudding. Oh yes. Wow, I've got to say, I don't often impress myself, but this was good. Now, I only had a 1 litre pudding bowl, and as I said, the recipe was for 1.7 litres, so I made a smaller one. I don't think this one will make it till Christmas. And I shall be tasting this one now. Oh, that's good. Obviously it's cold at the moment, but oh yeah, tastes just like Christmas pudding. Right then, guys. Well, once you've checked on your pudding and had a little nibble, cover it with cling film, give it a good wrapping up, and leave it in the fridge. Now this will keep for months and months. This is spookily 2 months till Christmas, 25th of October. So, well, they will be well ready. And watch for a future video when I'll show you how to dress it and maybe even set fire to it. Take care, guys, and I'll catch you on the next recipe.